Welcome to another episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Katherin Jennings Vermeil, founder of Cats Casting and the current Mrs. New York. She'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a very special guest for you. Mrs. New York is in the house with us tonight.
Hi.
Katherin, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
It's great to have you. Great
Thank
to finally have you here together connecting with me. So
Thank you.
lovely to have Mrs. New York with
Yes.
us. And we're going to go into all that and the pageant stuff in just a little bit, but kind of want to just do a deep dive a little bit about you. Who is Katherin Jennings Vermeil?
Where do I even start?
Take it as far back as you want to, your humble beginnings, all the way up.
I was born in Brooklyn, raised in the Bronx, currently now in Queens. I'm really Miss
New York.
At a young age, I was in dancing, so I learned ballet, modern, jazz. When I got into an adult, I studied belly dancing. So yeah, I extended my resume, and then I got actually into modeling. So I was in modeling probably about 5 years before I decided, hey, maybe I should just cross over and not be in front of the camera, maybe more behind the camera. And I started helping out models get gigs, get in actors, get in movies, even get artists into like radio and TV and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun. I had more fun doing that. Like, don't get me wrong, I love walking down a runway, but I had more fun being like behind the scenes and stuff like that. And yeah.
No, that's great. And of course, having your own business. Kind of tell us about, some of those challenges of having your own casting company. And with casting, that just so much networking is involved, but I think you've built those relationships because people start coming to you like, oh, how do you get me on this? And how can I do this? And you're realizing this is a business.
Right.
I could actually do this.
Right. It was very difficult at first. A lot of times people would just try to push me away, or they didn't want to talk to me. It's not really... It is the industry itself, is because so many people are so used to people being flaky. So it's kind of hard to like gauge if someone is really going to be in it to win it. But it does hurt sometimes when it's just like, you're like, I'm trying to push forward. I'm trying to get these people, get going. And for me, it was always a struggle, just even me being a model myself, because, I'm 5'3". I'm really tiny. So walking down runways, it's not really ideal. And most designers are not really receptive to doing it.
Yeah.
So most of the time I would have to get in through like a photo shoot and then be like, hey, listen, I do runway too, blah, blah, blah. I would have to negotiate everything that was there. And that's where kind of like where everything started, was like, where I would tell my friends, I would be like, well, why aren't you negotiating with this designer? Hey, listen, I know you're paying this model this much, just pay me this, and give me a shirt on the side. Like, you have those conversations with them and try to negotiate what you can get out of it, knowing that, I'm not the ideal model that you want, but I'm telling you, I'm that business.
Exactly. And that drive and that hustle really does go a long way.
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially in this type of industry, you have to network. You have to communicate with others. It's really important because they want to see who you are. They want to see that, the person that they're working with is reliable. They're passionate about what they do. And they're actually good at what they do as well. So, yeah.
What has been one of the most memorable, maybe fashion events? We'll do one fashion and one overall shoot that you've done that really stuck out in your mind that you're like, oh my God, wow.
It was the time I walked for a designer during New York Fashion Week, which is very, very hard to do. Very hard to do. I was actually the only petite model there. Like, a lot of the models were being actually really mean to me backstage. They were really nasty to me, and it was actually very saddened that they would be mean to me like that. But I was just so excited to be a part of, that runway show. And the designer, he's here in Brooklyn, Versailles, Brooklyn. He's an amazing designer. And
I think that's downtown Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen his amazing stuff in the window.
Yeah.
Like, beautiful, a lot of bling, a lot of...
He's designed for so many celebs. And it was such an honor for me to just, take that step and have that opportunity to walk down the runway, especially being my little tiny self and having that opportunity to do it. So that was one of my favorite runway moments. One of my favorite photo shoot moments. I don't even know. I've done so many. I usually do a campaign photo shoots for like local designers and stuff like that. And actually, till this day, there is still a couple of designers that they hit me up and they'll be like, "Hey, listen, I'm doing a campaign shoot. You down?" Of course, I'm down. I would be ready and willing to do it. But I've just had so many like positive experiences because I try to make the best out of any situation that I have. So yeah,
absolutely. When you kind of diverted to like behind the scenes, working directly with the models and all that, what was some of the advice that you would give that you would see more junior models kind of making that were mistakes that you would be like, that's not going to get you to long-term success?
Right. Go to a casting early. Get cool with the people who are doing the casting. Just be nice to them, have a conversation, be polite. Simple things like manners. You will be surprised. People are so nervous during those castings. They don't even realize that they're not even being respectful to the casting directors that are there. Mm-hmm. So, take the time, pause, be like, "Hi, thank you for having me, blah, blah, blah," and then do what you have to do. Another advice I would always say is always bring more than one pair of shoes.
Okay.
Even if it's a full-on campaign shoot and they're providing everything for you, always bring like one or two pair of shoes just in case. You never know what could happen. You don't know what the stylist might think, what could change. There's always something that could be happening, and you just have to be prepared for it. Which gets me to the other point of making sure you have a model bag. So I don't know.
So what goes in your model bag?
Oh, no. A lot goes into your model bag. A lot. Everything from an extra pair of stockings to concealer to pads to snacks. Mm-hmm. Make sure that the snacks that you do use are like nuts. Nothing that like liquidy. Nothing liquidy, please. Please. No. Shoes, extra clothes like camis, the tops, leggings. You have to bring extra stuff of that just in case you don't know what they have in mind. You don't know what the photographer has in mind because he could be doing a campaign shoot and he could be like, "Hey, listen, I want to give you some extra headshots." Hello, who's that benefiting? You have to always be prepared for what's going to be coming up next. So in your model bag, it definitely has to be fully packed with whatever essentials that you need, especially your foundation, your particular foundation.
Great. Well, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I actually want to go into the makeup and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Don't go anywhere. Back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Katherin, why don't you tell us about, you left off talking about foundation, and that was really going to bring me into my next segment, which is makeup and being a woman of color and the things that because 99% of the time, we're not one shade. You have to make my shade. You have to blend it. You have to do all these different things. Has there been instances where they just couldn't get it right, or they didn't get it right, or?
Yes. Actually, when it was the third pageant I competed in. the makeup artist that they had there, she, I guess, perceived me to be darker than what I was. So when she began to like put on my foundation, it was very, very dark. And I was like, no, this is not my color. You're going to have to lighten it up. If you don't have something lighter, I'll go back to my room and I'll bring my foundation. But, you know, originally she said she could do the job, so it was a little
disheartening.
Right. It was a little crazy that she started off like that, because you can clearly see that the color was too dark for my tone. But that's okay. So, you know, I corrected her. She tried to correct it. She couldn't. I went back. I went to go get my foundation. So she worked from the foundation. And other than that, she did a really, really amazing job. But it is really difficult finding your foundation as somebody of color, especially if the artist is not used to doing, you know, us girls, us black girls.
No, I absolutely agree. And then it's a different technique, because like I have more yellow undertones, and some people might have more red undertones, and I've heard there's even green undertones. Like I was like, oh wow, because I've dealt with makeup artists over the years, and they were like, if you don't get that right,
it will mess the whole thing up. It really does, and it doesn't blend well, especially when you're on camera and when you're taking pictures. You can definitely see that there's something off with the hues, because some people are cool, some people are warm, and you have to know how to blend that. You can't just be like, oh, I'm a makeup artist, I know how to do it, and then it's not, you really can't do a wide range. Right, because then at the end of the day, I don't have to spend the money to get an artist to do my makeup. I could just do it myself. You know what I mean? So it's tough.
And that's another point. Would you always kind of encourage girls to, or models I should say, to know how to at least do some level of makeup?
Yes. So the basic needs of a model, just the basic foundation, a little bit of eyeshadow, mascara, and eyeliner, and the perfect lip color for you is so very important. Even if you can't get everything else done, the most important are those things, just so you can have just a basic natural look, in case the makeup artist doesn't show up, the makeup artist doesn't know what they're doing. You have to be prepared yourself, because you know what, you want your images to come out well, and you don't want it to be messed up, because then it's going to be a waste. I mean, granted, you know, the person who's running it, the creative director, is still going to be upset, but you want your images to be perfect and on point, because that actually stands out to other people, and they'll talk about that, and they'll be like, hey, listen, you know, she came to the shoot, she rocked out, even though the makeup artist was total trash. But it happens in the industry. People will talk about it, and they'll be like, no, like, we can't work with this makeup artist anymore, but that model was amazing. I think you should book her for this campaign also. And that's how that works.
Absolutely. No, I love that. And I love hearing that, you know, some basic level of makeup. What do you suggest when someone's going to a casting, and how should they have their face and makeup and attire?
Well, generally in most castings, they do want you fresh face, so they want your face to be blank as much as possible. They don't really want too much makeup. If you do decide to do makeup, it has to be very light makeup with probably a gloss. Nothing too heavy, unless they specifically ask for a full face of makeup, which is very rare. But they usually want it fresh face. They want to see your natural beauty, because they want to see how they're going to work with the canvas.
Exactly. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to confirm it for everybody at home. So let's talk about your reign as Mrs. New York.
Yay! So it's been kind of crazy because of the whole situation that's going on. Originally, I was supposed to compete last year, but because of everything that happened, you know, it got postponed. So I won the title for 2 years in a row without competing, which is great, and it's amazing. You know, competing in the Regency International Pageant, you meet so many wonderful girls from all over the world, and they're so sweet, and they're so nice to communicate with, understanding their culture, and it's just an amazing experience overall. But most of my reign has to do with, like, community work, outreach. Right now I'm working with a company called the Queen's Refrigerator. where they put refrigerators in the streets and people can go
Stock
and
it
put
with
food.
food.
Yeah, so if somebody's hungry or they're homeless and they don't have a way of getting food, they can literally just go in and take food out. So when they have events, I go down there, I help them give out food and different things like that. Currently, I have a non-for-profit organization called Coupon Cart Club, which helps women of domestic violence financially get back on their feet, because 75% of victims, mainly women, end up going back to their abuser because of financial situations. So building their finances back up, helping them to stand on their own, helps them to not repeat what's going on. So
That's great. What are the criteria? So, what is the criteria for Mrs. New York? What are you being judged on when you compete?
you're judged on community service, speech, talent, walk, presence, communication, so many different things.
Imagine.
I know. The whole thing that just a beauty pageant is just like, oh, you just have to be beautiful. No, absolutely not. You have to be able to balance across the board. So you don't have to be absolutely gorgeous to win, but you definitely need to know how to hold a conversation, understand what your goals are, understand that helping the community is a part of life. Like, you can't just sit there and just be like, I'm pretty and I can just get away with life. No, you can't. You gotta help people out. It's the truth, though.
It's so true.
Because so many people are just consumed with themselves. They don't realize, somebody who's next to you, they might have an attitude, but you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their day is like. Like, tell me what's going on with you. Are you tired? Are you hungry? You just have that conversation with them. And sometimes it'll actually change their whole day.
Absolutely. I totally see that, and I loved hearing that. But what we're going to do, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go into a little more details about that, your contact information, and, of course, how they can get in contact with you. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Katherin, why don't you tell us how, leading up to the competition, what is your prep? How do you get ready for the competition? For instance, when they used to have the most covered Victoria's Secret show, they'd be like, 3 months out, we're in the gym 5 hours a day. It's like, it's a whole big thing. So how do you personally prep for the competition?
I do start going to the gym probably like 3-4 months in advance. I do.
Yes.
I spend at least 1 hour in the gym. It's so important to do that, just to get a balance, just because the competition is a week long. So you have to really prepare your body to endure the pressures of what's going to be happening throughout the competition, because sometimes you have to wake up and you're pretty much in competition mode for 12 to 15 hours. And it's pretty similar to like being on a movie set. But one thing I do is I read more on what is important to balance myself, give myself meditation, give myself time to work on, different skills that I could adjust before getting there, practicing on my talents, practicing on my speech. I know, I'm so weird. I write them out, like my introductions and everything. I put them on little cue cards, like I'm studying for SATs. And I just go over them and memorize them, because that's how I feel comfortable practicing. There's a lot of people who can just wake up one day and just be like, oh, I got it. And me, I have to take the time. I have to be like, this is who I am. But they don't know who I am, and I need to write it down to relay it properly so they understand.
Okay, so that's the prep work. And then kind of talk about the week itself when you're there.
So the week is kind of crazy and hectic. There's check-in, and immediately, probably like an hour or two after check-in, there's meet and greet. So you finally meet all the girls, you meet all your competition. Then you talk, you mingle, you sign in completely. And then we usually have some kind of night together, like a karaoke night or a bingo night, where we work together to see, how we mesh, how we can, be normalized and not be trying to scratch each other's eyes out. More like a team building exercise. They do that for us. So that first night is really, really fun. Then usually the next day is when the competition begins. First day is introductions and opening number. Second day is usually talent. Third day is speech. Fourth day is evening gown and crowning. So it's pretty hectic.
Do you get to have the husbands there?
Yeah. Well, my husband doesn't really come on stage, but he is there. He does support. I usually try to bring my family as many people as I can every year, just to come and support me. And it's kind of fun just having somebody root for you. And sometimes there's some girls who go there who are married, their families, they couldn't make it because they couldn't get their visas. And it's really sweet because, like, my mom is so sweet. She'll root for them, too. And I think it's adorable. My mom is so cute.
That is nice. And do they change locations every year?
Recently, the past couple of years, it's been in Vegas. So I think they're going to probably stay there. Cause
nice,
it's
fun place.
There. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I really enjoy it. Nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy.
No.
So what do you want to say to the Beyond Focus family as the official Mrs. New York, and you're competing again? Is there anything in particular that you really want everybody at home to know about? That's kind of your mandate.
I just want everyone to make sure you guys stay safe, love each other, spend time with family. Yes, even if it's over Zoom. I know everybody is so tired of Zoom calls. But it's really important to deal with family. Family is so, so important, building and moving forward. And that's why I'm so big on, fighting against domestic violence, because, the foundation of the family is so important. And once you remove that and, you get away from the situation, you have to rebuild back up. And sometimes the bad situations that you went through, you've ruined relationships from your past families, and now it's the time to rekindle it. Now it's the time to build back up and move forward. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. How do everyone at home get in contact with you? If they have any questions, comments, want to keep in touch, how do they do that?
So if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Katherin NYC, or you can send me a quick email at katherinjennings@gmail.com. If any other social medias you have, like Facebook, Twitter, it's all the same thing. Katherin NYC. Mrs. NYC is here. But yeah, just send a comment or a DM and just be like, "Hey girl, how are you?" And I'm cool. I'll send back a DM or send a wave or put a little heart.
Absolutely. The competition in 2021 is going to be taking place when?
It's going to be in June, at the end of June in Las Vegas. They haven't set an official date, but I will be posting it soon on my social medias to make sure everything is good.
And how many girls usually compete?
Like 250.
Oh my God.
It's a lot. It's a lot of girls. But they do shift it at different times. So it's not like we're all in one place at the same time. So
that's why.
Yeah.
And it's spread out over the course of a week, whereas Miss Universe kind of happens, everything's in that one night.
No, in Miss Universe, it's actually 2 to 3 days as well.
Really? They just shoot it and show the footage.
They only show what's called the finals. The finals is usually the last day, but there's actually 2 to 3 days of the whole competition. But people are not gonna sit there for 2-3 days, so they show the important parts.
No, that is fantastic. Well, best of luck with that. I'm super excited. Your Beyond Focus family will be rooting and watching.
Thank you.
And I'm sure once we have an official link and all that stuff, please send it over. We'll love to support and let people know how they could, tune in, get involved. Is it streamed on social?
Yes, it will be streamed on Facebook at the Regency International Organization.
Absolutely. That is fantastic. This is great. So Katherin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we'll look forward to having you back again definitely soon.
Yes, please.
Awesome. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.